Welcome to the B&B Podcast, the Bad and Bougie Podcast, for those who want to level up, get the bag, strive and accomplish excellence, and live the life of your dreams. Stay tuned for episodes every Sunday and Thursday, where I post content about attaining happiness, and I help you solve the problems that are holding you back. Okay, so today we're going to be dealing with receiving, and first of all, not only defining it, but also 4 things we can do to understand and master receiving. Now, the bottom line, even if you don't believe it, is that giving and receiving are the same vibrational frequency. Okay, they require the same amount of energy. If you can't give, you can't receive, and vice versa. If someone you don't like can help you, receive the help and still not like them, right? This is something that a lot of people struggle with, right? They say, there's an old saying that says, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. And in order to fully receive, you must allow yourself to learn, right? You have to learn. And in order to learn, we must be exposed to the content, understand, comprehend, analyze, synthesize, or become one with the knowledge. And finally, when we are at the point where we can teach or where we can actually give, then we have actually fully received, right? So in order to fully receive, we must be able to fully give. Now, there's an example that I think about every time when I think about this. Imagine if you played a sport, right? Like basketball. Imagine if you played basketball and you gave it your all. You gave it everything you got. You left it out on the court, whatever. If you win, what you receive is the prize, right? But the prize is for the winner. And the winner receives the prize for giving the best effort or giving the most skill in the situation or on the court, right? Giving and receiving are the same vibrational frequency. The next point is that prizes are for winners. And this came up, I heard someone say, well, this person, if I'm dating someone, they should do this, 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 and that because I'm the prize. Well, prizes are for winners. Prizes are for winners, period. If you are a woman and you feel like you are the prize, in theory, there's nothing wrong with that thought, right? But it means that any man or that any person that you would court, they are the winner amongst the other people who wanted you, right? Vice versa. If the man is the prize, right? And I'm not saying that anybody, man or woman, can't be the prize. And I'm not saying that either man or woman can't be the winner. But if a man is the prize, and you think about wealthy men, you think about men who carry themselves a certain way, and they have a lot going on for them, they have multiple people trying to get them. If they are abusive, nobody wants that, right? So you have to say to yourself, if this person is truly what I think that they are, then why would they choose me out of anyone else? Why would they choose me? I am the winner. I won. Therefore, I get the prize. Prizes are for winners because giving and receiving are the same vibration. You don't just get to show up and be a winner. Like if we go back to the same example of the basketball team, you don't just get to put your jersey on and your shoes on and your uniform and go to the court and say, hey, I'm here. Go ahead and give me my trophy. I deserve my championship ring. You don't get to just win for showing up. Nobody's going to change the rules of engagement just for you. Prizes are for winners because giving and receiving are equal, right? And there's a really big warning, and the warning is always the same. Beware of your ego, right? Just like that person who says, oh, I'm the prize. They should do what I say when I say do it. Well, you're the prize, but that means that you're only dealing with winners, right? Because if you're a prize and you're dealing with losers, that doesn't really make sense, right? That doesn't make sense because the balance is off. You wouldn't give a prize to a loser. So what are the problems and why is this happening, right? The first problem is that people don't understand trading. If giving and receiving are equal, that means one is equal to the other, right? So let's look at an example. Way back in ancient times, people traded goods for services, right? But people also traded goods for other goods, okay? And this could be like apples for those oranges. Hey, I've got some apples, you've got some oranges, let's switch, right? The next thing is, as we evolved, products became equal to a price. Hey, this bag of apples is equal to this much money, right? So either way you look at it, the good for the service or the good for another good or even the good for money, it is all based off the concept that one is equal to the other. I give you this so that I can receive that. They're equal. The second thing that people don't understand when it comes to receiving is that there is such a thing as price per value. If you go to the store, right, and you're looking for a book on how to become a millionaire, like let's say that, and the book costs $15. So you go to the store, you find this book, it's $15, you pay for the book, you read the book. The book has tips and information, resources, whatever, and after you receive those things fully, you become a millionaire. So even though you paid $15 for the book, that's the price, but the value of the book is worth millions. This is a big deal because a lot of times people, I feel like, are miserable because they either feel like they're given too much for what they receive, or they feel like if I receive all these things, they're not worth much. You're giving me a bunch of things, but in my perceived value of what I'm receiving, they don't equal, right? They're not equal. The only way that giving and receiving truly work is when they're equal, right? I'll give you another example. Let's say a man, you're dating this guy and he's perfect, and you're driving a car and your car is raggedy, right? Your car is beat down and it's inches away from death. If he cares for you, he might say, hey, I see you with this car. It's beat down, it's raggedy, and I got you something new. You might find out that the car costs $50,000. I don't know, just a rough guess, right? The car costs 50 grand. You get the car, but does that mean now that you have to return $50,000 worth of anything to this man, $50,000 worth of gifts to this man to be equal? No, he might see you, see how happy you are, see how impressed with him that you are, and know in your heart, in the receiving moment, that you won't have to deal with that problem that you've been dealing with, right? You receive the freedom to not have the problem that you used to have, and that alone might be enough to equal the price that he paid for the car. Price per value. Your happiness, your safety is worth $50,000 to him, right? And some people might say, well, that's too much. Some people might say that's not enough. But either way it goes, you have to kind of define what price per value is. Receiving and fully receiving is learning. And once you learn to receive, you can kind of decide what you want to do with your knowledge, right? This brings us to our third point. People are entitled to live whatever life they want to live, right? God gave free will, and you'll meet people who are constantly trying to take it away from you, or maybe you find yourself being guilty of trying to take it away from other people, right? If you allow yourself to be triggered every time someone dumb says something stupid, you will always be worked up. You'll be anxious, you'll be stressed out, it'll wreak havoc on your life, your nervous system, your health, right? All of these things. Because sometimes we see people and they do something, like I say, something stupid. And you're like, oh my God, why would you do that? Blah, 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 blah. You're just constantly giving to someone. A, they didn't give to you. They didn't ask you for anything. B, God gave them free will, and they are receiving that free will. It has nothing to do with you, right? When you're little and you're in kindergarten, they tell you all the time, mind your business. Mind your business. Because at the end of the day, everyone is entitled to live whatever life experience they want, right? And lastly, our fourth way that we can really evaluate and look at receiving is boundaries are for you. They are not for other people. If you don't want to live or give whatever it is you don't want to give, don't give it, right? Here's an example. If you're dealing with future fakers, future fakers is a term that has been going around recently, and it's for those people who essentially make a lot of promises about the future but don't keep them, right? Oh, one day I'm going to marry you, and so they string you along and they breadcrumb you, and they never marry you, right? They're faking the future. You might say, okay, thank you, future faker. I appreciate you. I fully receive the skill of paying attention to your actions and not your words. Thank you for teaching me that skill. Therefore, anytime I deal with anybody else, if they say, hey, we're going to go to the movies on Friday. Okay, I want to go. That's cool. Let's go Friday. Friday comes, they say, oh, well, I'm not available. I say, okay, well, did something happen? No, I just was tired at work and it's just been a long day. Whatever, okay, whatever the excuse is. Thank you. I received that. Maybe next time. Next time comes around, hey, we're going to go on a trip. Let's take a trip to Hawaii. Oh wow, that's great. Like, let's go. I'm down. Like, I'm here for it. I love to travel. Let me get my passport ready, right? Hey, I know we're gonna go on the trip, but something came up and it's just been a lot to deal with and blah 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 blah, right? I literally dated a guy like this a long time ago in my early 20s. It got so bad to the point that like sometimes he would say stuff and I wouldn't even get dressed. Like, or this one particular time he said we were going somewhere and my roommate invited me out the same night, right? And I didn't tell either one of them that like I had the plans. So I got dressed. And I said, I'm going to get dressed. If he calls me, then I'm going to go with him. And I'll let my friend know, hey, I'm with my man. My roommate won't care. But if he doesn't call, I'm dressed. I can go with my roommate. Literally got dressed because deep down in the bottom of my heart, I knew he wasn't going to show up. Right? I had learned from him that when he opened his mouth, he was going to lie. That's just part of what it was, right? And so as I grew, and I'm still growing, still in the process of working on myself, right? As I've gone through this process, I fully received that. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to deal with you. Now I have the skill set. When people say things, I know how to listen to their words and I know how to pay attention to their actions, and I'm really good at it, right? You might be dealing with energy vampires. Energy vampires. Okay, thank you, energy vampire. I fully receive the practice necessary for me to develop the skill of setting boundaries. I'll give you an example. Here comes Linda from accounting, and we all know when we see Linda coming, we all get tired. Oh, here comes Linda. She strains all the energy from everybody. Thank you, Linda, for teaching me how to set boundaries. Linda comes up. Hey, Linda, I'm on my way to the copier. Do you need any copies? Okay, thank you. Have a good. And this is my all-time. They're not bad people necessarily, but what they do is, for whatever reason, they're holding on to something, right? They've got scarcity in their mindset, and we don't have time for that. We're out here taking advantage and capitalizing on opportunities. We're out here seeking happiness. We're out here trying to have abundance in all areas of our life, right? And conservationists are the complete opposites. But that's okay. Hey, conservationists. Hey, conservationists. I completely receive you. Thank you. I received the knowledge I gained about myself, right? If you go on a date with a guy and he's cheap, right? He's super cheap. And you're like, wow, thank you. Thank you for reinforcing my understanding that I don't like cheap people. Because I'm such a great receiver, I want to be the receiver and the benefactor of generosity. Thank you. Thank you, conservationists, for showing me that people who are always conserving their energy, always conserving their resources, they're not the type of person that I need in my life. Thank you. I want people who will share with me, who will give to me so that I can receive. And then I can receive, I can nurture, and I can give back, right? If you're a person and you say, hey, I've started this business, somebody might have invested in you. You might have had what they call it, a financial partnership, right? Somebody would have given you some money, and maybe you are in real estate. Maybe you started your own business, your own podcast, your own whatever. Okay? Once you receive, so thank you. You become a return on investment. Now that I have received what you gave me, I started my business. I was able to hire people. Somebody might say, wow, I love working for you. Coming to work here is the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank you. So now at this point, you have received, you have nurtured, and then you have given back, because giving and receiving are equal. The misery that people feel is when the giving and the receiving is not equal. You might feel like, hey, I'm giving too much for what I'm receiving. Or you might feel like, hey, I'm receiving all these things and they are not of value and I don't actually want these things. But no matter what it is that someone is giving, there's a way to fully receive it. And then you can set your boundaries. Hey, thank you. What you gave me was trash, but I receive it. I do. I thank you for letting me know what you think about me. Thank you for teaching me that. Now I don't have to waste my time dealing with you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I fully receive that. Right? So, in conclusion, whenever we're talking about receiving, there are a lot of things that we can do. There are a lot of things we can do. There are exercises we can do. And I always have recommendations. I don't believe that we should talk about the problem, expose the problem, and then not give solutions, right? So if you receive the lesson, then what you can give is a blessing, right? Okay, so recommendations. A, always feel free to do intentional journaling. And particularly, think about journal prompts that have to do with blessings, right? You might get up in the morning and write 3 things you're grateful for. If you start your day with the things that you received, I received health this morning when I woke up. I received the technology, right? I'm glad that I live in an age where I can turn the lights on when it's dark. Right? I received technology. I received the year that we live in. You might say, oh, I'm so thankful. I'm thankful that all of my family is healthy, or all of my friends are healthy, or especially during these kind of times, right? And people are losing people. So start with journal prompts. Start with some things you're grateful for, some things that you are blessed to have, right? Another thing you can do is practice saying thank you and you're welcome. Thank you and you're welcome. There's so many people who don't say thank you and don't say you're welcome. So like I was telling you about my roommate earlier, this same particular roommate, right after college, we went to the mall. So, you know, when you go to the mall, there's like a row of doors across the front. Like, you don't have to just walk through 2 doors. Like, there's like a whole row, right? So we're walking out the mall. There's a man, his woman, and he has a little boy. The little boy's maybe like 3 or 4. So the man is behind us with the woman, right? So he comes in front of me and my roommate. He opens the door. I walk through. I say, thank you. My roommate walks through. She says, thank you. The man's woman, okay, I don't know if they were married or whatever, but his woman, she grabbed the little boy's hand and went all the way down to the other row of door, the other end of the row where the doors were, to go out that door instead of the one that he was holding. Right? And I was just like, whoa. And I was nowhere near as articulate, I feel like, as I am now. I didn't even understand the things that I understand now about giving and receiving being equal. But what I knew in my soul is that he wanted to be the man. He wanted to hold the door for all the ladies. He just wanted to receive the thank yous. He just wanted the thank yous. And that woman took the child, his child, and walked to another set of doors and opened the door herself and took the child through that door. You see what I'm saying? So when you practice saying thank you and practice saying you're welcome, you do so much. There have been times where I have seen this. You can give someone something and they'll take it and they'll say thank you. And if you don't say you're welcome, they'll be like, thank you. You'll be like, oh, you're welcome. Like, I've seen people say thank you more than once because you didn't say you're welcome. Thank you. I said thank you. Oh, okay. Or vice versa. People give you something, or this happened to me in like 8th grade. A girl let me borrow a piece of paper, and she turned her head, and I didn't think she was talking to me anymore. And she was like, oh, you ain't gonna say thank you? Oh, sorry, thank you. Because that's not just good manners, it's the act of giving and receiving, right? Some people want to give because they equally want to receive. Right? It also reminds me of a book, right? Get into things that can help us. There's a book, and it's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And law number 1 is called the Law of the Lid, right? And the Law of the Lid basically says that the human being is a container, like a jar. And everybody's jar is different heights and different sizes. And your capacity is only as great or as high as your lid, right? Like once you hit your top, once you hit your max capacity, you're at the lid, you can't go further than that, right? So we as people, whatever size our jar is, we don't actually have to stay that same size. We can grow and we can change and we can actually improve how high up our lid is. So when you improve your capacity for receiving, right, you improve your capacity for generosity. And vice versa. When you improve your capacity for generosity, then that means you are improving your capacity for receiving. right? So we've talked about journal prompts. We've talked about the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, saying thank you and you're welcome. You can also create small little challenges and celebrate your wins, right? If you say, I'm going to make my bed up every day this week as soon as I get out of bed, and you do it, celebrate that win because you gave effort. You gave effort, and your reward is that you accomplished your goal, right? And so when you get used to celebrating those small accomplishments, those small goals, over time, it will help you increase your capacity. Over time, it will help you increase your capacity, right? A couple of other books are The 9 Things Successful People Do Differently and The Power of Receiving. Okay, it's called The Power of Receiving, and I'll try to link those things below, but it's called The Power of Receiving. And these are just a couple. There are other resources that you could search on the internet or find, and of course YouTube videos and things like that. But you have to work on how do I receive even when I'm in a situation that might not be the most positive, right? Like I said, if you're dealing with an energy vampire, or you're dealing with somebody who's just crazy, because it's real. But you have to learn to truly master receiving. There are people who miss out on so many blessings because they refuse to receive from certain people or certain types of people. There are people who feel like children don't know anything. There are people who feel like old people don't know anything. There are people who feel like women don't know anything. There are people who feel like men don't know anything. Either way it goes, no matter who you're dealing with, you have to learn to master receiving. Once you learn to master receiving, trust me, there is someone generous enough who wants to fill your capacity for receiving. That's just the way it works. Because if you are this equal and if you are this great receiver, your equal is a generous person, right? And if you are generous, your equal is a person who knows how to receive, right? So that is all I have to say on that. Please leave any questions or comments or concerns down in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Goodbye.